Hello everyone, I am Amir Mehboob and today I'll be answering critical questions that you as a parent often have on the validity of play-based teaching. Moving on with the next slide. I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet on this wonderful day. I would also like to express my sincere respect to the elders, both past and present, and recognize their unwavering efforts in fostering knowledge and morals within the community. These are very essential values that we all should embrace and pass down to our children. I'm sure you will agree with me that learning is a basic tool that empowers us to become useful members of the community and the nation at large. This is why we should always strive to embrace effective learning practices. Moving on with the next slide. Getting straight to our agenda today, let's start by exploring what play is. In simple words, playing is basically how children make sense of the world around them. It's self chosen, joyful, active, and meaningful actions that children engage in every other day. While at play, children try out different ideas that they can think of. They also actively build new relationships, solve different types of problems, and express themselves to their peers and the wider populations. Earlier in my career, just like many of you, I thought of playing as taking a break from learning, but this is actually not true. From my knowledge and experience, I can now confidently say that the time of play is when the deepest learning actually happens. As we shall see later, this is a moment when children get to understand how to connect their thinking, emotions, language, and movement. Moving on with the next slide. Throughout the years, children have always gained valuable knowledge through stories, movement, observation, and connections. They are in need the various forms in which the play is being played. This brings us to the fundamental idea of play-based learning. Play-based learning usually takes advantage of the natural curiosity that children have and channels it towards the intentional teaching. In my case, I often apply play-based learning in my teaching process by observing the specific interest of the children, introducing them to ideas or tools that will enable me to extend their thinking. For instance, when the child is building a tower, I might ask them, how can we make this beautiful tower stronger? While this might appear to be a simple question, it actually does encourage STEM thinking. By asking this question, I deliberately turn building tower play into an opportunity to learn the basics of science and engineering. The Australian Early Year Learning Framework (EYLF) recognizes the importance of this kind of teaching in developing confident and capable learners. For this reason, the framework encourages us to employ such techniques so that we can guide the children through meaningful experiences. Personally, play based learning has greatly shifted my mindset as a teacher, and I now focus my teaching plan more on opportunities for inquiry rather than traditional learning practice. Theories are important because they help us understand different things. For example, why play works in promoting learning. There are three theories that can help us understand this important issue. First, we have Lev Vygotsky socio-cultural theory of cognitive development. In this theory, Vygotsky argues that learning happens when individuals engage in social play. Therefore, children can learn a lot when we support them beyond what they can do alone. Secondly, there is Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. In this theory, Piaget saw children as scientists who build knowledge through play and interaction. In other words, children can discover new ideas, understand their world better when they actively play with their peers. Finally, we have a contemporary socio-culture theory. This theory basically reminds us that culture, relationships, community plays a significant role in influencing how children learn while playing. Now, the ideas presented through this theory remind us as teachers to step back and observe, listen, and join play or games in meaningful ways instead of being the one to direct it. It is essentially satisfying to note just how much children are able to learn when they are given greater control whenever they are playing. Moving on with the next slide. These are the images of Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky, some of the most influential scholars in the field of learning. Moving on with the next slide. There are different types of play that children can engage in, each of which help promote the development of specific skills. This information is clearly highlighted in this table. As we can see, the types of plays ranges from physical, dramatic, constructive, exploratory, and those with rules. Each types of play contribute to the holistic development of the learner. This is from strengthening their emotional intelligence to fostering early literacy and math skills. We want our children to become all rounded members of the community and society when they finally get out of school. I usually make sure that I include all types of play in my teaching plan. I don't limit myself to only those that feel academic. In this way, I can support different areas of learning when handling my learners. Moving on with the next slide. There are different reasons why play based learning is considered highly valuable. First of all, this approach to learning supports holistic learning. It does not focus only on academics but also supports emotional and social aspects. Secondly, play based learning also boosts the ability of children to improve the language and critical thinking abilities. Thirdly, this approach provides learner with an even broader opportunity to succeed in different aspects of their life rather than merely academic work. Moreover, there is scientific evidence confirming the play based method lead to better learning outcomes. This is especially demonstrated in areas such as cognition, language, behavior, and emotional well being. I have actually seen children who appear to struggle in structured tasks do well in a play. This is a clear indication that play-based learning meets the condition of the children at their personal level and allow them to develop at their own pace. Moving on with the next slide. I have actually incorporated play-based learning activities in my classroom. In my classroom, you will find different sections dedicated to specific activities, each of which promotes specific learning areas. For example, you will find an area for role playing, a block zone, and a sensory station. I'm also keen on integrating outdoor activities to encourage my learners to engage with the natural environment. According to Hassan et al., it is important that play environment should include materials that are open-minded, represent diverse cultural perspective, and allow for creativity. Therefore, instead of limiting my scope of teaching on a pre-planned academic outcome, I always emphasize taking my learners through play as a part of the entire education process. To achieve the desired objective, one must be able to listen closely, reflect often, and allow curiosity that the children have shaped the learning journey. I believe that with this brief presentation, you can understand the true value of a play as a fundamental tool in the learning process for the children. I implore each one of you to encourage your children to actively engage in different types of play whenever they have time. Ultimately, we will able to build a more productive and resilient generation that will safeguard the future of our community, society, and the nation. Thank you all for your time.